Let's explore the idea and possibility that something like this could happen in the US. This is what happened in Japan from 1990. It started when I was born. There was a bear market that it took until February 2024 to get out of. The stock market declined 79, 80% over 19 years and 34 years to get back to break even. What happened? And is it possible that something similar could happen in the USA? I'm not predicting it. I'm saying it's a possibility. I do think this will happen. Poss No, it's not a prediction. I think it could happen eventually. I don't know if right now is when it will, but we need to understand what happened in Japan to know why this could repeat in the USA. So on the left side here and the right side of the chart looks very different. And from data I'm collecting from AI, we had a growing young population on this side. This is the main thing. So it's really age related. And over here we have in the 70s we had a birth rate collapse actually. So birth rate collapsed actually in here, but it wasn't felt until a little bit later. Over here we have essentially an elder dependent generation. So we have a really top heavy demographic. So like our age peaked, and why does that demographic change? Because in here we have growing GDP, and there's also with growing GDP comes risk appetite and contribution to retirement funds and buying of assets, right? So when the population is growing, you have people putting money into the markets, buying houses and stuff like that. But when you have an elder, an old, I'm going to say elder slash, because it's not dependent on elders. When you have an older generation, what ends up happening is there's more demand to sell assets to live off of. I don't know about you guys. My mom she's like 77. She's not buying. She is selling every month to live off of. So that's what happens. So the question is, could we see a demographic shift like this happen in the US? And the answer is yes. The wild card is inflation, though. Oh, sorry, is immigration. Inflation is also a wild card. Um, let's go to ChatGPT, actually. Let's go. Uh, give me, give me charts of birth rates in Japan and USA by year. So I'll do a little bit of research on demographics here, but we know the population is slowing. So, okay, I understand interest. 1800 average US woman had 7 children. In 2020, it's declined to 1.6. Okay. Japan is 1.2 per woman. So Japan is declining more. Birth rate, death rate, actually so we have shrinking population in Japan now. If you look, the death rate's higher than the birth rate. Fertility rate in Japan declining. Births, deaths, and marriages by year in Japan. Deaths has cleared births, and marriages and divorce line uh, is is approaching. Falling births in Japan. Okay. Um, Generation Z. Okay, this is I don't know if this is USA. Okay. US low. Births per 1,000 women reached all-time US low in 2017. 60. Average births per woman in lifetime. Okay. Total fertility rate. US fertility rate. That's crazy. So we are seeing the fertility rate decline. Now, the wild card is immigration. So an important difference is here, the Japanese they're sort of nationalistic. I'm going to call them xenophobic. They are pro-Japanese. They don't really like or welcome a lot of foreigners coming. They tolerate them, but they're not like, yes, we need to keep importing people. It's a different culture from the US. Let's look at the Dow Jones. We'll use the Dow Jones as our, although I feel like actually let's use the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq is a little bit more. So we are and have been seeing like this. So possible demographic shift, right? We do have an older population and everything that comes with that of selling of assets to live. Also, definitely in the US, we have the younger generations not only declining birth rate, but feel poor. So if they feel poor, they invest less. They also invest more in risky assets like crypto. So we have a demographic change, and there's a possibility we see something like this. Now the main wild card I would say is immigration, because the US likes immigration and Japan doesn't. So let's go back to our AI and say, um, show me a chart for the USA, or show me charts for the USA of birth rate, death rate, and immigration. That immigration seems to be a key difference because I want their commentary too between Japan and USA. So using AI to generate fundamental ideas can help with asset selection. Okay, birth rate in the US has been declining. Death rate in the US. Immigration has been a significant factor in the population growth of the US. In 2024, the US population grew at the fastest rate in 23 years, surpassing 340 million residents, largely driven by immigration, which accounted for 84% of the 3.3 million person increase. Really important to pay attention to. If you're wondering, like, why did we have such a sick bull run in 2023, 2024? Immigration has to do with it because the price of assets, the stock market's related to GDP. GDP is related to the number of people. And also, if we look at financial engineering, which is just kind of like who's buying, that is influenced by the number of people. So let's go ahead and take a look. Death rates. Okay, I want to see deaths per 1,000% of population. Okay, it spiked in 2020, I guess. This goes back to 2016. I want to see number of immigrants and the share of total US population. So it is straight line up. I want to see more. We're going to go to Google because GPT is slow. Number of immigrants per year in USA. Um, chart. I want to see a chart. It's going to show me a chart. Immigration share of the US population actually has declined. Well, it's been increasing since 1970. I want to see. Okay, I just want the number. Okay, images. Share of population. Number of immigrants in millions. So they're projecting it to just keep increasing. which could prevent this demographic issue. So the key thing to pay attention to is immigration and US population. Because I would say confidently without immigration, we would see this as boomers get old and fade out. So that's something to pay attention to and just a possibility to be aware of. I'm not saying it can happen. My analysis is that it maybe won't uh because of immigration, but we'll see, and that's a number we're going to keep an eye on. Now, I'm saying it will happen eventually, probably because when the world population is declining and globalization, where the US maybe isn't as attractive anymore, then it will happen. So I would say eventually, but I don't really think we can call for it right now because over the next 5 years, they can probably keep immigrating enough people to keep the ship afloat. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Let me know what your thoughts are. Very interesting discussion. Okay, talk to you guys soon. Peace.